Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Game Week 20 deadline stream. Half the season, I can't fix my mic properly. Half the season now gone. The second half of the season to go. Lots to talk about, I'm sure, in this one. Weather for Liverpool versus Man United. As far as we know, the game is still on. We're probably not going to find out until tomorrow if it's not. So probably don't panic about that too much. The odds for Newcastle winning the game against Spurs have increased overnight or last night, which means that Spurs are probably missing quite a few players. And just having Isak does not feel like enough Newcastle attack. Even Lewis Hall is probably going to do much better than I was expecting him to. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for me. I'm rolling. Basically, I'm rolling because unless a game gets called off, any two transfer moves I make is basically just to bench someone in that 11. Like, is two transfers to bench João Pedro worth it? I'm not sure it is. There's a lot of doubles coming up. There's a lot of blanks. Just a bunch of stuff, that we got to deal with. So I'm probably just going to roll as much as I quite like saying that I'm rolling, actually. It's quite nice to be in a position where you can roll. I think the team's all right. I'd rather have Gordon instead of Eze this week, but c'est la vie, Nick, 24 months. Thank you very much. Your badge changed. Yes, I'm not sure at what point it stops changing. I should look into that. I also should see if we can get some redesigns done, maybe. Possibly, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well this morning. Can't wait to see Bruno in my... I'm too tired to talk about Bruno Fernandes, I think. Honestly, I think I'm not the one that's obsessed. I think it's really weird, the comments on my videos. I never said I was buying Bruno this week, and people are going on about me buying Bruno. I never once said that I was buying Bruno. Maybe next week, but not this week. Relax, you don't have to get him. Do I think Gabriel Jesus is a good pick? Can he be a better choice than Chris Wood right now? If Gabriel Jesus keeps getting the minutes he's got, then yeah, I think he's a better pick than Chris Wood. Although Chris Wood is on penalties, I shouldn't forget that. I don't know. I think the hype around Chris Wood right now is based on the first kind of 10 or so game weeks. Like, the last few game weeks have not been quite as good. I mean, obviously, literally the last one was good, but like the last kind of 8 to 9 game weeks have not been as good for Chris Wood. But he's nailed on. The minutes are fairly good. The stats are so, but he does have penalties. Like, for less than 7 million, I think he's pretty good. Get bench cover for weather concerns. I would only make a bench transfer if you've got like 3 or 4 transfers stacked up and it's going to be a good long-term move. Like, as it stands, the only game I think people are even slightly concerned about is Liverpool versus Man United, and I think it's going to be on, to be honest with you. But we are not going to find out until tomorrow. There's no way they would cancel the game this early. Like, they would want to do everything they can to make sure it's on. Would I bench Bruno or João Pedro? Oof. What's the tougher fixture? Liverpool away or Arsenal at home? They're both pretty tough, aren't they? João Pedro's looking pretty nailed right now as well. I mean, I would play Bruno probably, but there is... I mean, for that, I'll admit there probably is a slight bias. I guess maybe you go João Pedro because he's playing at home, and maybe that's the decider. There's really not a huge amount in it. I bought Colwell in 2 weeks ago. What's your thoughts on him to Lewis Hall? I like Lewis Hall. I think he's going to be popular next week onwards either way. But if he returns this week, he's going to be super popular next week when you look at the Newcastle fixtures. But I don't know if you need to use a transfer to move off Colwell this week specifically. Like, I still think Spurs will score. There is going to be quite a few changes in that Spurs team looking at the illness and stuff people are talking about. Like, there's people... I don't know how much is like rumours, how much is true, but we know Doggy's missing. We know Romero and Van de Ven are out. Apparently Dragishin's been ill during training this week, although apparently he's available. There's rumours going around that Son's not going to start. Like, it could be a Johnson, Solanke, Werner front three. I don't think this... we know the defence for Spurs is going to be terrible, right? Well, whatever they come up with, the back four is going to look bad. I'm not sure the attack is going to be completely terrible. So I still think Spurs have got a goal in them at home to Newcastle. But I guess the chances of getting that goal are going down a little bit. Matoma to Mbeumo -4 or just play Hall instead. I would probably just play Matoma instead, to be honest with you. I don't think I would take a -4 to do that. Isak hat-trick. I have changed my vice captain to Isak based on all these rumours about Spurs. I don't think any games are going to get called off today, but another very minor reason I've gone for Isak, like maybe less than 5% reason, is it's the first kickoff, so we know the game will be going ahead. -8. Timber, Cunha, Foden to Munoz, Isak, Gordon, exact money. Have you got no other bench cover at all? I mean, without seeing the rest of your squad, it's very hard to say a -8's worth it. But you are getting rid of 2 players that aren't playing, so I don't hate it, to be honest. Semenyo to Gordon or Roll. I mean, if you're going to get Gordon anyway next week, I'd probably just do it. But I think Semenyo is fine this week if you want to give yourself another game week to think about future moves and stuff like that. I think I do have a bit of FOMO with Gordon, right? I said to Harry on Twitter last night, put it this way, I know that if I want to get Gordon, Rodgers to Gordon, I can fund it by doing Solanke to a 5.4 million forward or less, so like Ndiaye or like Armstrong at Southampton, or even just go for a dud. But like, I don't think he's like, Gordon is good, but I think this always happens with players. Players are like good options, but then they start getting talked about as if they're absolutely essential to bring in, and I just don't think Gordon is that. He could do extremely well today, but I don't think we need to start panicking about him too much. But I do like Semenyo to Gordon if that's part of your future plans anyway. Newcastle's fixtures are really good, yeah, especially from an attacking point of view. I mean, they're really good from a defensive point of view from next week onwards. I still wouldn't see Spurs away as like a good fixture for Lewis Hall personally, but he is fairly attacking. So if you want to play him, that's absolutely fine. Ryan, thank you. Xander, start Vandenberg, Colwell, or like João Pedro. I'd play João Pedro, then Vandenberg, then Colwell probably. Just because it's Southampton. I'm new here. Does Andy only read paid questions? Yes. Bench 2. Vardiol, Lewis, Ahmad, Kirkes, Hall, or Jackson. Bench 2. You've still got double City defence. Interesting. Probably Ahmad and Hall. I don't know. Would I probably Hall out of those. I think I would play both the City defenders because they're at home to West Ham. I guess Hall versus Ahmad. Ahmad's probably fine against Liverpool, I guess. Yeah, probably Hall and then Lewis or Ahmad, I think. Is the assistant manager chip best played in Liverpool's double gaming? I think that's going to be a very solid choice, but I think I'd probably want to go for the table bonus, where you go for a lower ranked team that if they win, they get extra points. So I don't think it's a necessity to have to play it on Liverpool's double, but I think that's going to be a very solid choice because they will probably win both games and they'll probably score a good few goals. Interestingly, I saw people talking about it last night. If the Liverpool-Man United game gets called off, there is a chance, and by the way, this is all very, 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 very low chance to happen because the game's probably not going to get called off in the first place, and even if it does, the next bit won't necessarily happen. But it's possible that Liverpool could have back-to-back doubles, game weeks 24 and 25, and in that case, then I'd be playing the assistant manager chip on slot, and so would everybody else, including those with triple captain left, because that would be nuts. But I think it needs Man United to not have to go through the playoffs in the Europa League, something like that. And also it needs the game called off tomorrow, which probably isn't going to happen. But imagine that, back-to-back doubles, 24-25. That's definitely assistant manager slot time. But yeah, I don't know if I'm definitely going to play it on slot yet. But I'm waiting to get my third Liverpool player in because I know it's a potential option. Would you take a -8? Bruno, Rodgers, and Jackson out for Gordon, Mbeumo, and Jesus? No. Like, Bruno and Jackson are going to play, right? Is Murphy overlooked a little bit? Possibly. I still prefer Gordon because I think his minutes are just much better long term. Like, obviously, the way Newcastle are playing right now and the way Murphy is playing, like, Eddie Howe's not going to change that. But if he does change something in the future, it's probably that Barnes comes in for Murphy or something like that rather than for Gordon. Put it this way, if we found out that Solanke was not playing today and he was one of the players that was ill and just couldn't make it, I'd be quite tempted to do Rodgers to Murphy. Just in case that game gets called off tomorrow as well. I mean, I could just obviously have Munoz come on, but I'd be tempted by Rodgers to Murphy. Yeah, he's great value. 5.1 he is now. No further news on the Spurs stuff. Start 2 out of Sarr, Robinson, Colwell, Ain't Nuri. I mean, that's pretty easy, right? I mean, I guess Ain't Nuri's got not a bad fixture on paper, but Wolves' defence is not that great. I would definitely play Sarr and Robinson, I think. Let's talk FPLs in the top 5 leagues in FPL. Nice. The thing is, like, the league thing's kind of cool, right? It's great that we're usually in the top 5. But it's a bit weird how it gets worked out. It's basically the average of the top 5 teams in that league. And what happens, as you get towards the end of the season, people will just start, like, if people are doing really well, like in overall FPL, people will just start trying to get them in their league. So it's like, it's a bit rubbish overall, really. It's cool to be in the top 5, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, it's just the top 5 average. So fair play to those people that are top 5. Is Ollie Watkins a good vice captain this week? I fancy him to hold against Leicester. Nothing wrong with Ollie Watkins, yeah, absolutely. Which third attacker to bring in if you have Isak and Wood? 7.5 to spend. Dominic Solanke? Dominic Solanke? I can't even recommend... No, I can't recommend Solanke. Not with Arsenal away next. I guess Jesus punt. But who else is there? Visser has got Southampton, I suppose, but then plays City and Liverpool. Otherwise, you go cheap like João Pedro or Raul Jimenez and just use that money elsewhere. I don't mind the Jesus punt as long as you're willing to accept that at some point he may get benched. Doy, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you too. Although you didn't say that, but Happy New Year. I kind of misread that. Would you start Aina over Robinson and Kirkes? No. I do like Aina this week, right? Wolves away, but I'd rather play the 2 guys at home. Like, Robinson's got Ipswich at home. There's no chance you're benching him. Moro, 9-month member, thank you very much. Bench 2 of Kirkes, Anderson, Aina. Again, Aina would probably be the answer. And it's not because he's bad. I just like the other 2. I mean, maybe you could make a case for Aina over Anderson because he's a bit more attacking, but over Robinson, definitely not. And I'd probably just take the Ipswich game. Son, Evan Nielsen to Isak, Morgan Gibbs-White. Is Morgan Gibbs-White a good pick? I don't know. What do we think of Nottingham Forest fixtures? I think basically everyone's looking at Wolves away, Southampton at home in the next 3 and thinking that's pretty good. And it is pretty good. But it's got Liverpool at home in the middle, then Bournemouth away. Not great. It's okay, but it's not great. Then Brighton at home, Fulham away, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home, City at home. Gibbs-White is not a bad pick. 6.4 million. If you had a bit more money to go for, like, I don't know, Martinelli or Sarr at Palace, I think I prefer them. Who would you start between Lewis, Aina, and Enzo? Probably Enzo. A lot of people have Colwell. Yeah, he was quite popular. Well, he was popular and for good reason, right? The fixtures were great. Play 2 of Diaz, João Pedro, Konza, Kirkes, Enzo. Only 2. I think you've got to play Diaz if you got him. Like, Liverpool could absolutely smash Man United. Probably João Pedro over Enzo because of penalties. Rashford or Osimhen signed the papers. I don't think that's going to happen. It does look like Rashford's going to go, though, doesn't it? Which is kind of a shame, but I also understand it. Solanke to Watkins for a 2-week punt or roll. 2-week punt. The thing is, Watkins, it's Everton away afterwards, isn't it? If you've got a bunch of transfers, I would consider that. Yeah. If you've only got 1 transfer, I'd be more tempted to roll. You can't use the assistant managership until game week 24. Oh, I need to change the music. Just realised I've still got Phoenix on 20 minutes later. Do you think Maddison will start this week? I don't think he will. I hope he does because I've got him in draft on sleeper, but I can't. I'm not convinced that he will. Apparently, he was ill. Like Ancelotti said, he was ill last week, which is why he didn't start against Wolves. And so with illness going around the camp, you just don't know. It's just really hard to know. Visser to Chris Wood. My other strikers are João Pedro and Isak. But then Chris Wood's got Liverpool. So I'd rather just hold Visser and roll the transfer, to be honest, for Man City at home. Might sound crazy starting Lewis Hall over Bruno. Fair enough. I mean, I got to be honest. Like I had Lewis Hall quite low down in my benching section of the video yesterday. I'm not sure how much higher I would put him now, but I guess with all this stuff going around about Spurs, he probably is looking like a bit of a better option, and I'm a little bit worried. Apparently, Spurs only had 7 first-team players in training. Yes, that is what I heard as well. And it's early kickoff today as well, so you've not even got time to get everyone else fit. They might have been keeping players away to make sure they were fine. I don't know. Put it this way: every week I go into the game week with a little bit of hope about Solanke because he's so low owned. That hope's kind of gone, to be honest. Why aren't I captaining Isak? Because Salah exists, basically. Fernandes to Gordon this week or after Southampton. I mean, if you're going to get Gordon, get him this week, right? When Fernandes is playing against Liverpool. But I think Fernandes is pretty good from next week onwards. Would use the money to upgrade Strand Larson to Chris Wood. Already have Isak and João Pedro. Yeah, sounds fine. Bench Jackson or Enzo. I mean, it's got to be Enzo, right? Enzo, Rodgers to Gore. By the way, this is what I'm talking about when I said earlier that sometimes players get talked up so much. It's like we need to relax a little bit. Like Isak's very, very good, but like it's like we're forgetting that Mo Salah is on like 200 plus points after 18 matches and he's playing Man United at home. Like, let's relax a little bit on Isak. I mean, Isak could outscore him. It's possible, but we were all on Salah not too many days ago. I don't think enough has changed with that Spurs team to now get off Salah. Enzo / Rodgers to Gordon or Cunha to Havertz or Roll. I mean, Enzo to Gordon. It's hard to say that you should sell Enzo before Rodgers, to be honest, because Enzo literally has a game this week. So Rodgers to Gordon, if you can do it for free, sounds quite nice to me. The thing, once you do a move like that, right, you're going from a £5 million-ish player to a £7.4 million player, so you're using a lot of money. What is that going to stop you doing? If the answer is nothing, then yeah, I'd much rather have Gordon than Rodgers moving forward. Again, Rodgers is good, but he's not Anthony Gordon good. Switch João Pedro to Raul Jimenez. Why? Great question. Why would you do that? I mean, Raul Jimenez will probably start against Ipswich, but I'm not sure it's worth a transfer. Captain Harden or Salah? Salah. It's got to be Salah, I think. If my rank is low, should I do crazy stuff or just try to climb normally? I would just try and get the most points you can and not worry about ownership and stuff like that just yet. I mean, sometimes when you get to later in the season, you do start making a few differential... like, I don't know. This week no, maybe not this week. I don't know. There will be weeks coming up where maybe you could go against Salah captain, for example. You could pick... I don't know, you could come off double Arsenal defence a bit earlier than everyone else, maybe. You could do stuff like that, but I wouldn't just go massively differential for the sake of it. Like, I wouldn't captain Gordon over Salah this week because you want to climb the ranks, because the reality is you'll probably be even further down the ranks if you do stuff like that. Luca Dean, Lewis Hall, João Pedro start. I'd probably start the 2 attackers, although Luca Dean against Leicester at home is quite nice. Cunha to Jesus, 1 free transfer. Good luck. Nice. Good luck to you too. Seems like a pretty good move, as long as Jesus keeps playing. Got 6 red flags in my team. Should I use my wild card? 6. I mean, it depends who they are, right? Like, if you can bench a couple and one's Fabianski and you've got a playing keeper, then it's probably not as bad as it looks. Depends who the players are, I guess. Start Strand Larson or João Pedro. Probably Strand Larson. Like, he should start, right, with Cunha unavailable. Quite a few of us have no Arsenal defenders and doing okay. Yeah. That's what I might sell one of my Arsenal defenders next week, possibly. I want to do Mbermo to Bruno, I need to fund it, and Gabriel out would probably be the one. But I don't know if I really want to sell Gabriel, if I'm honest, but we'll see. Best Fulham midfielder for the next 3. I mean, I'd probably go for Harry Wilson if he's going to continue starting. I mean, Iwobi's got the absolute guarantee minutes, but Wilson's starting a lot at the moment, isn't he? You say Spurs are going to batter Newcastle. I got to be honest, I'd find it hilarious if that happens. All this talk about Isak and Gordon, everyone's panicking about them, myself included. And then for Spurs to just rock up and beat them like 3-0, that would be quite funny, especially if Solanke gets the hat-trick. I think that's probably a little bit unlikely. But a man can dream. A man can dream of a Solanke hat-trick. Is it worth doing Semenyo to Gordon for a free transfer? Yeah, I answered that. I answered a similar question earlier. If you don't need the money, then sure. Is every team looking terrible this week? I don't think my team looks terrible. My team would look a lot better if Rodgers hadn't got suspended. And then I'd actually be really happy with it. But I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Yeah, I don't mind my team. I mean, I'd rather have Gordon than Eze this week, but then Eze's got Leicester next week, so happy enough with him. Trent and Gordon in for Fernandez and Kirkez. That sounds pretty good, yeah. Is Mbermo to Gordon worth it or just wait a week? I mean, Mbermo's got Southampton away. Again, we need to relax a little bit on how good Gordon is. Should I start Colwill over Fernandez? I wouldn't. All it takes is Amad Diallo to go down under a slight challenge from a Liverpool defender. Bruno Fernandes gets a penalty. Bench 1, Visser, Jackson or Murphy. I would bench Murphy out of those. I don't think... If you've got Visser, you can't bench him against Southampton. And then Jackson or Murphy. Like as good as Murphy is and as bad as Spurs might be, like Jackson... His goal threat is so good. I mean, I would argue... Well, Spurs away might be easier than Palace away, that's for sure. But I'd go Jackson over Murphy. Triple captain, he's that optimistic Spurs fan here. I mean, if you're going to use triple captain this week, I would go for Salah. Odegaard to Sarr this game week or roll? I would roll. I would roll. There's no rush to get Sarr in before Chelsea. I mean, Sarr's great, by the way. I think he's a really good pick. And again, I'll keep reiterating this. I think I might long-term regret not going for Sarr, but yeah, Odegaard's fine for this week. Would you play Hall or Howson? I'd go for Howson because of the fixture. I know I don't have Lewis Hall. I feel like I'm going to spend most of this stream saying that I would bench him for various other players, and he's probably going to go and get another 12-pointer or something. But fixtures, you know, like whatever happens in that Newcastle Spurs game, I'm not sure I see a scenario where Spurs don't score at all. But then Newcastle have been playing really well. Maybe Spurs won't score. I don't know. 4 free transfers: sell Haaland or roll and sell him next week. It depends who you're buying, right? Who do you not own? If there's a bunch, like if you don't have Isak, I mean, is Isak miles better than Haaland this week? Maybe not, but then you free up money to get a bunch of other good players. I mean, with 4 free transfers, I'll be tempted to do it, but I obviously can't see the rest of your team. Like, obviously, Haaland's decent enough this week. It's West Ham at home, but no one without Haaland is particularly worried, like I've been saying for weeks. Cunha for Chris Wood or Visser? I'd probably buy Wood because they both play Liverpool soon, but Wood's got... they've both got Southampton though as well. Visser's got Southampton this week. I'd go Chris Wood for the penalties, I think. Play Vandenberg or Bruno? I would play Bruno. What's your highest ever overall finish? Like 1.2k or 1.3k or something like that? Just missed out on top 1,000. Can't remember why. Probably because I was just rubbish. Sells or Pickford to start this week? So Bournemouth away or Sells, I think. Bournemouth better attack than Wolves. Bench 1, Jackson or Mikalenko? I don't trust Jackson. If you If you're not going to play Jackson over Mikalenko when Mikalenko's got Bournemouth away and Jackson's got Palace away, I don't even know why you own Jackson, to be honest. Yeah, you're definitely playing Jackson. Rodgers to Gordon or Cunha to Watkins? Rodgers to Gordon, I think. Well, Cunha to Watkins, but Watkins might be short term. That's the only thing I would say. I'd rather have Watkins than Gordon this week. Actually, do you know what? I don't know. The thing is, that's a tricky one because I think long term I'd rather just keep hold of Rodgers. Cunha, I think, can be sold, but Gordon from next week's great. Yeah, it depends how quickly you're going to be able to sell Watkins later on. I don't think he's necessarily a long term hold. Final update from Rob T. Big shift in odds in favour of Newcastle was mentioned yesterday with rumours of more possible Spurs absences in the early kickoff. Markets have warmed on Man City too. They're projecting well against... Oh yeah, geez. 2.9 goals for Man City against West Ham. Interesting. What's Newcastle on? 2.35 goals for Newcastle away from home to Spurs. That's pretty decent. By the way, I think one of the most interesting things on that graph... Go and follow Rob on Twitter, by the way. Rob T FPL. I think one of the interesting numbers on there is like Bournemouth against Everton own 1.8. Like Bournemouth attack is so good. So good. Yeah. Newcastle are going to do so well. By the way, it's still got Spurs down at 1.65 goals. So, Solanke, this is your time. Imagine if he actually gets a goal and some bonus points. It'd be like the dream. It's only happened once. Bruno and Greaves to Gordon and Munoz for free. Yeah, I quite like that, if I'm honest, because it's a big upgrade in defence. I mean, Munoz isn't necessarily essential this week, but from next week he looks pretty good. Muniz or Jimenez in for Jackson. I would just keep Jackson unless you desperately need the money. Better to play João Pedro versus Arsenal or Sarr this week. I think I would play Sarr. It's a close one because João Pedro's minutes are so good right now and he's on penalties. But Arsenal at home is definitely tougher than Chelsea at home. I think I would play Sarr. As a Palace fan, I genuinely think that Sarr is more of a threat than Eze. I wouldn't argue with you. Honestly. Like, you look at the numbers recently, Sarr's been really good. The only reason to go Eze is like if you sign a new player or something and someone comes out of that attack, it's much more likely to be Sarr than Eze. Like, no matter how many times I hear that Eze's not been playing well and stuff, he's just not getting benched, is he? Ever. So I actually agree. And you also save money by going for Sarr as well. If I could go back now, I mean, I wouldn't change it because I've got 10 points from him. But if I was buying right now, I'd be very tempted to go Sarr. Like, under 6 million, the risk is like quite low. Maddison out for a -4, 0.6 in the bank. Who do I go for? Gordon. Darren Noodles punt. How? Definitely not. I don't think he'll start against Man United. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Diaz and Gakpo, to be honest. Surely you can't captain Mo against your own team. There's no sentiment for me in FPL. I'd make decisions based on who I think is going to get the most points, and unfortunately, that is Salah versus Man United. Yeah, not great. Put it this way, right? On that graphic I just mentioned from Rob, the only team with higher projected goals this week than Liverpool is Man City against West Ham. Liverpool 2.65 against Man United at home is ridiculous. Man United just not in a good place. Also, Liverpool are joint top for projected clean sheet as well, 42%. Same as Villa versus Leicester. Nuts. Nick, gifted 1 membership. Thank you very much. To Gwiz as well. Lovely. Isn't it nice how these things work out sometimes? 3 times 5 million midfielders, Rodgers, Murphy, Sarr, and Haaland an option. Not convinced by that, to be honest. Like, that just feels like one of those things that looks really nice right now because all those players are doing really well, but like, how confident are we long term that will continue to happen? Like, I've got Palmer and Salah, so they're obviously going nowhere. I've got Mbeumo, he looks really good. Gordon's obviously good. Eze's decent. There's still a lot of good midfielders. Bruno from next week is good. Like, there's still a lot of good midfielders. Sarr or Castagna? I'd probably start Sarr. Kunish to Jesus -4 or play Vandenberg. I'd be tempted to take the -4. I know it's Southampton away, but I just don't trust that Brentford defence to keep a clean sheet. Do I run a back five with good fixtures or bench one for João Pedro or Murphy? I would probably play João Pedro or Murphy, but it depends who the defenders are. Yeah, I'm happy enough with my midfield this week. I think it's decent. Again, I'd rather have Gordon instead of Eze, but like, whatever. Got the 10 points last week. I'm happy enough. Is it worth buying Konza over starting a Southampton defender? Konza is probably better than a Southampton defender long term, yeah. The thing is, Konza's not that useful to you in the next 2 weeks. I mean, Everton away is maybe not that bad, but then it's Arsenal away. But this week he looks good. Son for Gordon or Roll. So, Son is one of the players rumoured not to start. The problem is, I just be honest, I don't know how reliable all these rumours are. Yeah, I just don't know. But the rumour going around is that it's a Johnson, Solanke, Werner front three. If that's the case, I would definitely sell Son. It's Arsenal away next week. Like, he only got, what, like 60-odd minutes last week? I think you cut your losses on Son and run. But just don't come back to me if Son start. I'm telling you now, I do not know for 100% that Son is benched, but that is the rumour that's going around, is that he is not starting. I don't think there's going to be any weather updates. No. I mean, the weather is the weather, right? We know what's coming. For the postponements, Liverpool, Man United, they will leave it to as late as possible to call that game off if they need to. They will give it every chance to be played. So you're not going to find out before 11 o'clock on a Saturday for a game that's not until 4 o'clock on Sunday. And any other game should be fine. João Pedro to Wood or Raul would have to play João Pedro. I would rather have Chris Wood than João Pedro, I think, at the moment. But do you know what, actually? I think I would roll, right? I think Chris Wood is better this week. But then next week, João Pedro's got Ipswich and Chris Wood has got Liverpool. And Chris Wood's more expensive. I would roll, but I wouldn't. But I don't think there's. If you think Chris Wood's the better option, I think it's an okay transfer. And he probably is the slightly better option longer term. Although, I don't know, Forest fixtures aren't that good. They do get to play Southampton soon, but then João Pedro literally has Ipswich next week. I don't mind it, but I'd probably roll. Jackson and Ahmad to Raul Jimenez and Gordon. Best replacement for Ahmad. I mean, Gordon seems pretty good, yeah. That's quite nice. All I would say on Raul Jimenez is, before that goal last week, there was no chat about him whatsoever. And people were even worried about his minutes. And now all of a sudden, everyone's bringing him in. I think you've got to be a certain type of FPL manager to have Raul Jimenez, because he will get subbed early, and there is the odd chance every now and again he might get benched. Who knows if Muniz will play this game? I mean, last time Raul Jimenez had a big gap between games and then had an easy fixture, Muniz played. They had 8 days between Liverpool and Southampton, and Muniz started. The only thing is, there was a game a few days later, whereas this time... Yeah, I think they're probably quite good moves, but don't bring in Jimenez thinking he's a dead cert to play like 80+ minutes every week, because he's absolutely not. But then he's cheap, so what do you expect? Are we overacting a little bit with Isak? In terms of what? Like, he's a brilliant option. Is he now a better captain than Salah? I don't agree with that, but yeah, he's still the best forward to own right now. Did you know Man United haven't scored at Anfield since 2018? Would you bench Ahmad for a back four of Robinson, Gabriel, Trent, Howson? I mean, they've all got pretty good fixtures apart from Gabriel, so yeah, I'd be quite tempted. Like, Ahmad was the only player on my list yesterday that was below a defender or two. What age should you stop getting a Christmas stocking? There's no age. Just same as you shouldn't ever stop getting a advent calendar, you know? Is it too early to wildcard? I've got 3 players injured and 3 Liverpool Man. I probably wouldn't wildcard. It's going to be super useful for you later on. Like, if you've got 3 hit and wildcard, just save them. I won't go into full detail of why, but you're essentially probably going to have a blank game week followed by not like back-to-back in game weeks, but you're going to have a blank in 29, a double in 33, a blank in 34, and a double in 36. And also, by the way, because of the way it's probably going to fall, like where the blanks from 29 go into 33 and the blanks from 34 go into 36, it's quite likely that Liverpool and Arsenal will be the two that get to the Carabao Cup final. So they will blank in 29 and double in 33 probably. But also, because they're two of the top teams in the league, they'll also probably get quite far through the FA Cup as well. So if those two teams get to the FA Cup semi-final and the Carabao Cup final, they will both double in 33 and 36. And so basically your wildcard team in 30 will just get picked for you. You'll have 3 Liverpool, 3 Arsenal, and you'll probably free hit in 34 to cover that blank. So it's not guaranteed to happen. But if those teams get far in the FA Cup all the way through to the semi-final and they blank because of the Carabao Cup final, like, wildcard's just going to be so useful later. Even if that doesn't happen, it's still going to be really useful. You've got an assistant manager to either set up or wildcard out of. I just don't use it. Trust me. I mean, some of you might have a team which really desperately needs a wildcard, but I doubt that's many of you. And I wouldn't wildcard on the basis that Liverpool, Man United might get called off. Isak scores in the first 10 minutes against Spurs, guaranteed. It'd be nice for them to get a goal back after being 2-0 down to Solanke, I guess. I'm 63 miles east of Liverpool and the weather is absolutely fine. Nice. But the amber warning is not until tonight, right? So the weather being okay now is not really a problem, I guess. Lewis Hall got so far forward against Man United, I kept confusing him with Gordon. I used to get that with, was it Zinchenko and De Bruyne? Did they used to wear the same boots as well? I might be wrong about that. Ranked 1.2 million currently. Is my season basically over? Nope. Still half a season to go. I went from like 2. No, I went from, let's not even go through the 2.9 thing. I've mentioned that already. When was I like 1.2 million? Yeah, I was 1.2 million in game week 11, and then by game week 15 I was 268k. So it can change quickly. You just need a Bruno Fernandes basically. Start Estepinian or Harwood Bellis, no free transfer. Arsenal at home, Brentford. I think I'd start Estepinian. It probably should be Harwood Bellis, but I just couldn't bring myself to start a Southampton defender unless I was absolutely desperate, I think. Was going to buy Trent before the weather news. Would you not buy him this week? I mean, if you're playing ultra safe, then yeah, don't buy Liverpool player. But I think like it would maybe put me off buying the likes of Diaz or Gakpo just because they're not 100% nailed, even though I think they'll both start this week. But Trent is nailed. So if it's a big upgrade, getting Trent in is a huge upgrade. I'd be tempted to do it. I guess it depends how many other Man United, Liverpool players you've got. If you've only got like Salah, is it that big of a risk? Maybe a little bit, but I'd still buy him, I think. Start one, ESM. Is that Smith Rowe? Carwell, or is that someone else? Who's ESM? It's supposed to be ESR, I think. Konza or Ahmad. I'd probably, if that's Smith Rowe, he's going to start, right? There's a good chance he starts, I think. I'd probably start Smith Rowe. Last time I said that, he was out of the squad. Greaves or Dunk to bench? I mean, they're both conceding. I guess I'd play Greaves. I really don't know. Flip a coin. Like, Fulham is the easier fixture. Dunk's at home, though. Greaves might not even play, but if he doesn't play, he's probably not going to be on the bench. I guess Greaves, because on paper I'd rather play Fulham than Arsenal, but like honestly, that's flip a coin territory. Like they're both just rubbish this week. I have Salah and Haaland 82k rank. Who to captain? Salah for me. Thoughts on Haaland captain? Need to catch rank 3.3. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Haaland captain this week if you want to go for it as a differential. I think Salah's probably a little bit better, but Haaland's fine. Did I say that Man United are a top team in the league? Don't think so. Maybe. Hall or Munoz got double Chelsea attack. Then yeah, I'd maybe play Hall in your case. Start Enzo or João Pedro for me. I still wouldn't captain Isak over Salah personally, but like, Isak's fine if you want to captain him. Will we have to transfer out the assistant manager, or will he be out of the squad after the 4 game? Yeah, it'll be out of the squad, but you won't get the money back. Like you'll get your money back, but presumably it'll be in the bank, so you'll have to spend another transfer to spend it. Will we regret selling Rodgers? I don't think you'll regret selling him like straight away. Like he's not playing this week. Then he's got Everton away, Arsenal away. So from 23 onwards, he looks quite good again. But yeah, not a huge problem. Also, if Liverpool get to the Carabao Cup final, Rodgers will blank in 29. But I do quite like the fixtures before that. Bruno to Gordon, Rodgers to Murphy, or roll. I'd probably roll. But if you're desperate for Gordon, I don't mind selling Bruno. I feel like Bruno Fernandes is a player that a lot of people just shouldn't own, like because he'll just frustrate you. Worth using my free transfer to go from Iwobi to Gordon this week, or wait till next week. Not sure if Ipswich at home is a better fixture than Spurs. I mean, Gordon is better than Iwobi this week, despite the fixture. Yeah. If you're going to do it next week anyway, I would just do it this week. Like, it's not great taking a player out before Ipswich, but I'd rather have Gordon, I think. Assistant managership sounds very messy from a budget management perspective. Having to make that extra transfer and have all that spare cash. Yeah, I think it's a pretty rubbish chip, to be honest with you. But let's see how it plays out. I agree. I think it's very convoluted in how it works. Like I just don't think it's needed. And also, when you strip it back, you're basically you're playing a chip to bet on a team to win a game. That's it. Like, it's called assistant manager because that sounds better. But like, if I get slot in and then he gets sacked, which obviously is not going to happen, but if he did, I still get the points from Liverpool winning. Even like, do you know what I mean? Like, imagine back in the day when Spurs, like, was it Jose Mourinho and then or what's his name, the young guy who used to be a coach at Spurs, used to play at Spurs. Can't remember what his name is. Like, if it had been available back then and you'd gone Jose Mourinho, you wouldn't have just lost your assistant manager. You would have just got the next guy. So you're just betting on a team to win games. Really, I don't think it was needed. I don't know why they thought they needed to put something like that in, but it is what it is. It was still Ryan Mason. That's it. Yeah. I don't know. It could be interesting. The table bonus, I guess, makes it a bit more interesting to play because you can go either safe and solid with like a slot, or you can go someone lower down that you think will get a few wins, etc. Do you think Sanchez will play? Yeah. 2 free transfers, nothing in the bank. Would you roll or make a move? I can't really look through your whole team and tell you whether I would make a move because I've not thought about your future moves and stuff like that. But I can tell you that team looks pretty damn good this week. Like, really good. I would not be particularly worried. The benching edit chat to the final is brilliant. It would be nice to do it every week. Yeah, we'll see. The thing is, most weeks, not every week there isn't necessarily loads of benching headaches, but we'll see. Benching headache. One of Kirkes, Gabriel, or Eze to bench. I'd find it really hard to bench Gabriel, so I'd have to say Kirkes. But if you want to play Kirkes over Gabriel, I get it. Bench one out of Gabriel, Luca Dean, and Robinson. In that case, I probably would bench Gabriel. Like Leicester at home and Ipswich at home, I think you've got to play them. Timber to Robinson, Castagna, Strand Larson to Wood. That sounds nice, yeah. Yeah, sounds pretty good. I mean, Strand Larson, the thing is, Strand Larson will start this week, right? He's at home to Forest. Is that much worse than away to Wolves? Not sure it is. I'd be tempted just to do the Timber move and not... I don't know if there's a rush to move Strand Larson to Chris Wood. But Chris Wood is probably better. Chris Wood is better. Who's going to take penalties, by the way? Hwang, I guess. Salah and Diaz and Gakpo, or Salah, Diaz and Trent? 100%. Would you go Iwobi over... Yeah, if I had Iwobi, I'd play him over Lewis Hall, yeah. God, I'm going to get it so wrong on Lewis Hall, aren't I? I can just tell. Hopefully Solanke wipes out your clean sheet early on. Put you out of your misery. Do you really think João Pedro against Arsenal has a greater chance of returning over Munoz? I'd back a penalty taker over a defender, yeah, pretty much. Also, like, whichever way I go, it's not ideal. Like, I play João Pedro against my double defence, or I play Munoz against Palmer. Like, it's not really that great. So in isolation, I'd rather just play the penalty taker. There is a little part of me worried about benching Munoz because he's so attacking. But it is what it is. Double Arsenal clean sheet or a João Pedro Hall? I suspect the João Pedro Hall is worth more points to me. Like, it's worth more rank to me. So a João Pedro Hall with a Raya penalty save and a Gabriel goal would probably be nice. Start Sarr or Nico Sarr for me. Sell one to Trent, Colwill, Castagna or Aina. Probably. I don't know. It should probably be Colwill. Because Nottingham Forest defence has been so good. I look at Forest. I know their defence has been so good, so I need to like remember that. But I look at their fixtures. I wonder how many clean sheets they're getting between like now and game week 30. Like, even Wolves away, I can see Wolves scoring. Then it's Liverpool, which is tough. Southampton's fine, but then Bournemouth away, really tough to keep a clean sheet. Brighton at home, Fulham away, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home. I just don't see many clean sheets for Forest. But if Arsenal had those fixtures, would I be as worried? Probably not. But Arsenal defence is much better than Forest. Like, Forest is good, but it's not Arsenal level. But then Cole's just nothing to get excited about. I guess Cole will, but I have a feeling we might be sat here in 8 weeks thinking it should have been Aina. And you do get Southampton at home soon from Aina, so yeah, probably Cole will. Do I reckon Kwanzaa will start? That's a good question. I hadn't really thought about that. I think yes. Because Konate is only just back in training, and I think with him it's like, I don't know, he's not that great at not getting injured, so I don't think they would take a risk with him. The only reason I'd hesitate a little bit is because of the fixture. I know Man United are terrible. I get it. But still, it's a big game on paper. So maybe it's the kind of game you rush Konate for. I just don't think he will. Slot just doesn't seem like the manager to take a risk like that unless it's needed. And honestly, I don't think he needs to take the risk against Man United. I really don't. So I think Kwanzaa will play. Cunha to Solanke / Wood, have Isak and Evan Nilsson. I don't think I can sit here and say Solanke, but I do think call me crazy. I think long term Solanke might outscore Chris Wood, but I think over the next 3, it's probably Chris Wood. The thing that Chris Wood has over Solanke is penalties, but Solanke's open play goal threat is quite a bit more. He's not the greatest finisher though, we'll say that. And you do buy him with Arsenal away next week. But then Chris Wood's got Liverpool. Then he's got Southampton. Chris Wood short term, but I think Solanke might win out long term. The fixtures for Spurs, 23 onwards, are pretty good. Start Hall or Mateta? Definitely Mateta. My team, any suggestions? Again, I wouldn't really send in your whole team asking for suggestions. Like, I can't look at a team and give you all your future transfers. It's just not going to happen. But I can tell you that team is pretty damn good, especially because you got Bruno Fernandes. 1 free transfer, buy and start Enzo to buy and start Enzo to I would just keep Enzo and Lewis, I think. Just roll, unless I'm reading that wrong. I don't... Like, Lewis will probably start, right? He's got a better fixture, so -4 for a cheap defender to start. Hall or Castagna? Long term, probably Lewis Hall. This week, Castagna is much better. So if you're going to buy both of them eventually, go Castagna then Hall. But if you're going long term, probably Hall. With the sickness news, play one of Hall, João Pedro, or Munoz. João Pedro. I've wildcarded my team. Okay, I've not thought about wildcard at all, but let's have a look. Sales, Pickford. Yeah, Trent, Robinson, Hall, Munoz, Mikalenko. Nice. So you got a couple of players for the future double in Mikalenko and Pickford. Palmer, Salah, Gordon, Martinez, Diaz, not sure. Yeah, Diaz, he's fine if he starts, but he will get benched the odd time. He's at Raul Jimenez. Raul Jimenez is a nice cheap option. You could go João Pedro instead. Overall, I think that team looks pretty good. Yeah, you could maybe leave the Diaz slot open and decide on your Liverpool player later on. But I've not really thought about wildcard 20 all that much. But I guess getting Everton and Liverpool players in seems pretty good to me. And also not having 3 Everton players also seems quite good right now. 21 months, thank you very much. Start Aina or Castagna. I mean, one of them's got Ipswich at home. Ahmad to Gordon for free. Again, yeah, sounds pretty good to me. Geez, the Enzo and Ahmad hype didn't last very long. Start Lewis or João Pedro. Saliba and Diaz to Trent and Gordon. No, I'm not sure I would do that. To be honest, I think Diaz will start. I like Trent long term, but I don't think you need to do it this week. Ahmad or Greaves? Definitely Ahmad. I mean, if Arsenal get a clean sheet and João Pedro blanks, I really won't be that concerned. I have Captain Salah with 2 Man United and Timber out. If United Liverpool is called off, who will be the 1 in the 11 blanking with 3 out of 4? Wait, what? I have Captain Salah with 2 United and Timber out. If United versus Liverpool is called off, ? Who will be the 1 in 11 blanking with 3 out of 4 replacing the bench? I don't know what that means. Who will be the 1 in the 11 blanking with 3 out of 4 replacing the bench? I don't know what that means. Someone in the chat help me out. I have Captain Salah. By the way, I don't think United Liverpool will be off, by the way. Who will be the 1 in 11 blanking with 3 out of 4 replace the bench? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many times I read it. I'm not sure what that means. Forest have won their last 5 with clean sheets in 3. Nottingham Forest are pretty good. They haven't had bad. They haven't had like amazing fixtures either. Yeah, they are good. Keeping Aina over Cole seems pretty good to me. He means which players won't get auto subbed off. I don't know why he's asking though. I mean, if players blank, they all get replaced by players on the bench if they've played, right? Yeah, the sub order doesn't matter if you've got 4 players blanking, right? If that's the question. Martinelli to Gordon for free or roll. I'd probably... You've only just brought Martinelli in, right? Surely. So I'd probably just roll. Following on from my Greaves or Dunk question, I could use my transfer for Hall. Is this worth the transfer or should I roll? I mean, Lewis Hall is better than both of them this week. And he's a good long-term pick, so I don't mind it. But it does feel like a bit of a roll situation to me. Pinnock for Castagna to bench over Cole or Sarr or Fernandes or just roll. Probably roll. Gordon or Eze in for Bowen. Gordon. Definitely. Eze's fine, by the way, but I really like Gordon at the moment. You're not going to get an update on Liverpool Man United today. If it's going to get called off, it'll be announced tomorrow. So make your decisions with that information. I would make your decisions assuming that it's not going to be off. But it would maybe like stop me buying. Like if there's a Liverpool player you're thinking of buying who's already a bit of a minutes risk, that would maybe put me off buying them this week. And also bear in mind, for anyone thinking about Gakpo, he's also on 4 yellow cards. He's got to get through another game. Vigorous Pigeon, new member. Thank you very much. What a name. He means he'll have 4 outfield players not playing if that match is called off, so 1 won't get put on the bench. Yeah, fair enough. But I don't. Yeah, okay. But I don't get what the question is. Or is that the question? Is that what will happen? Yeah, if you've got 4 players that miss out and 3 outfield bench players, you'll just have 1 player that stays on the team that will blank. You'll have 10 players, basically, if that's the question. Member 4 months, thank you. Bench 1 of Lewis, Gabriel or Castagna. Ooh, could you really play Lewis over Gabriel? I don't think so. Jackson starts? Probably, yeah. Opinion on Jacob Murphy over Gordon. Better underlying numbers, but minute. Yeah, it's just the minutes for me. I think Gordon's just a better long-term option. But honestly, I don't mind Jacob Murphy as an enabler. But it's similar to the... It was similar to a few weeks ago when there was all this hype about Ahmad and Enzo, etc., and having one of them plus Rodgers. I'd be happy with Murphy, but I'm not sure I'd be happy with Murphy and one of Ahmad, Enzo, Rogers. I don't think I would want two of them. But Murphy as a neighbour is absolutely fine. Can't believe you're starting João Pedro over Munoz. That is crazy. Is it that crazy? One's a nailed on penalty taker, one's a nailed on defender, albeit a very attacking one. Loki, thank you. I have Trent, Van Dijk, Salah, bench, João Pedro, Rogers, Taylor. 1 free transfer and 4 million in the bank. 4 million. I wanted to roll. I wonder if I should get someone for Taylor's cover. I'd probably just roll. I think the match will be on. Hope for the best. It's like when Rogers got a goal and assist and the yellow card, I was like, okay, that is a bit annoying, but he's got a goal and assist. But now, like, there's this slight worry over tomorrow's game. It's even more annoying that Rogers got suspended. Because if he hadn't got suspended, I'd have João Pedro and Munoz on the bench, and I wouldn't be worried whatsoever. Would you do a -4 Son out for Gordon? Rumours Son is ill. Have a couple of Liverpool as well. Do you know what, right? Before I started the stream, I knew someone was going to ask me that question at some point. Maybe someone else has already asked it in the chat and I've missed it. And I was thinking before the stream, what would my answer be? I would wait for as long as possible, just in case we get like an official confirmation, like from someone before the deadline. I would be a bit tempted to do it. I would be a little bit tempted to do that because I think Gordon's just a pretty nice pick in the short to medium term. And Son's then got Arsenal away. He's just got subbed early in the last game as well. I would be quite tempted, but it's always easier to tell someone else to take a -4. That, like, would I definitely do that if I was in your situation? I'm not so sure, but I'd be tempted. Bench Howson or Munoz? I'm going to say Munoz. I think you go for the fixture in that case. And Howson's no slouch from set pieces, by the way. Munoz or Colwell? I'd bench Colwell first. Play one, Lewis Hall, Colwell or Munoz, or don't bring Castagna in for a -4 when you got those three defenders. I would play Munoz, then Lewis Hall, then Colwell in that order, I think. If you want to go Hall over Munoz, absolutely fine. Hall or Cash? I mean, if I was buying one, I'd buy Lewis Hall. Cash is better this week, but I don't think I would go there. I wanna go turn the lights off. Would you do Timber to Munoz for a -4 or play Mikalenko? Bournemouth away. I'd probably just play Mikalenko. Who do you think is the best defender 5.1 or under right now? I'm not sure if Robinson is worth the money over Castagna. I personally also think that Castagna is probably the one to buy over Robinson, but the more weeks that we get through, the less I think that, because the closer we are to Tete returning and potentially taking his place back, whereas Robinson is absolutely like mega nailed forever, basically. But Robinson, is he 5 now? I can't remember how much he's gone up to. Let me have a look here. He's 5 million now, 0.8 million. The thing is, I said this like a game week or two ago, and then Robinson got another assist, and his price went up. He was only 0.6 cheaper at that point, I think. I'd buy Castagna. I really think I would. The 0.8 million is huge. But Robinson, like, it does. I got to be honest. Robinson just feels like one. You get them every season, right? He just feels like one of those players that, even though he is overperforming a little bit on assists, it just feels like he'll just keep getting them. He'll just be that high-owned player that I don't own that just keeps getting returns. Play Kirkes or Vardio along with Gabriel and Robinson. I would go for Vardio. Him and Kirkes have both got good fixtures. Vardio is such a goal for it. If Liverpool game is called off, I have 8 players. Would you take a -4 for Bowen, Cunha to Gordon, João Pedro? I mean, if you haven't got the bench to cover Bowen and Cunha as it is, then yeah, I think that's a pretty good -4. You could go for that Raul Jimenez over João Pedro if you wanted to. I think I've actually caught up on all them. Nice. Benching Hall to play Ahmad feels wrong this week. I don't know if it does. Although someone did put a stat earlier that Man United haven't scored at Anfield since 2018, which is nuts. I think Ahmad versus Hall is quite close. Personally, I think most people would play Lewis Hall. Start Kwanzaa or Colwell. If you've got Kwanzaa, I'd start him. Why not? Flex that you've got Kwanzaa and he's probably going to start. I guess the only slight risk is if they do risk Konate, he's got more of a chance this game week than any other because he's just back from injury being subbed early. I think Kwanzaa will start. Just hope he doesn't make another change at halftime. Trippier's an underrated pick. You've got Livramento there, haven't you? That's the problem. And also, Trippier's quite expensive. Like, he would have started the season quite high, and he probably hasn't come down that much. He's 5.6 million. That's a lot of money for a player you can't, like, for a lot of money for a defender you cannot guarantee if he's going to start week to week. Odegaard to Mbeumo for a hit, definitely not for me. 2 free transfers, Colwell and Foden to Trent and Gordon. I mean, Foden could do really well today against West Ham, let's be honest. But Trent and Gordon seems pretty good to me. I'd much rather have Trent and Gordon than Colwell and Foden. I think it makes your squad better straight away. Am I watching any games today? My wife is going away today. I've got to be quiet in case she's listening. But yeah, I'll be watching all the games. I'll be chilling on the sofa with my dog all day, watching football. Is probably my plan. Although I do need to go for a walk before that, but that's fine. So I got up late today, so no walk this morning. Triple captain Salah, yes, in the double game week. Probably not this week. Am I doing dry January? I'm doing. I'll have a drink if I want to drink. Otherwise, I just won't drink. January, and then I'm going to do the same with February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and November and December probably. Chances are I probably won't drink in January, but not because of dry January, just because I just won't drink. Watched the training yesterday. Yeah, we know Konate's back in training. It's just that he's only been back in training like a day or two. He's been out for a little while. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's been out since game week 12, so it's quite a while now. Not convinced he goes straight back in. Again, like I said earlier, the only reason I'm hesitating a little bit is because it's Man United. But is that difficult at the moment? Not really. Saliba or Castagna to play? Castagna. Someone said Liam Delap, maybe. I'm not sure why you've said that, but if it's about him as a cheap option instead of João Pedro or Jimenez, I don't mind it, especially now he's taken the penalty for Ipswich. And he's only 5.6. The fixtures are so bad, though, for Ipswich. Like Fulham away, Brighton at home, City at home, Liverpool away. Next 4 just does not look great. Start 1, Jota, Sarr or Luka Dean. I don't think Jota's going to start. He could do, but I don't think he will. I'd say Sarr, I think. I'm basically going to live my life as I normally do January. Basically, that's what I'm going to do. Make some FPL videos, go for some walks, lift some weights at the gym, walk my dog, drink if I want to drink, or otherwise don't drink. Try and drink more water. Drink some Coke Zero. That's about it. Thanks for the content. Best 6.5 million midfielder. I would probably buy Sarr, I guess. Is there someone I'm missing? Chat, help me out. Is there someone I'm missing? 6.5 or below? I would go for Sarr, I think. Eze's more expensive now anyway, if you wanted to go for him. I think that's about it. I think Martinelli is more expensive as well. I need to drink more caffeine-free Coke and Pepsi, but then you take out the caffeine. That sounds rubbish. When have Premier League matches been cancelled because fans can't travel to the game? I'm pretty sure it happened for... Was it Spurs Burnley? It happened? Maybe that was the pitch. I can't remember. If City West Ham was going to be postponed, we'd probably already know about it. Start Strand Larson or Ahmad, definitely Strand Larson. Cunha to Gakpo, Jesus or Wood. Wood if you trust the minutes, otherwise Chris Wood. I like Gakpo, but I don't trust the minutes personally, even though he started like every game since game week 12. Or play Gabriel or Hall, bench Cunha and roll the free transfer. I mean, playing Hall and Gabriel seems fine to me. If you're not sure about who to bring in, you could just roll it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Did I go to the darts last night? No. Why no sugar Coke? How about no Coke? Just like drinking Coke Zero, to be honest with you. And I don't drink coffee or anything. It's just the only place I get caffeine from. Would you play João Pedro over Castagna? Probably, although it's quite close. Very tempted to play Konza over Enzo. Is that silly? I wouldn't say it's silly. I don't think I would do it, but I do understand it. Play Strand Larson or House and Strand Larson. Cunha's suspended, so Strand Larson's minutes should be pretty good. I wonder if I'm going to buy Lewis Hall next week, by the way, for Gabriel. Possibility, I think. Say no to caffeine. I think caffeine's fine, to be honest with you. Everton versus Liverpool was postponed because of wind and travel disruption. Boom, there you go. Start João Pedro in a 3-4-3. Okay, so João Pedro versus Robinson. Oh, see, that is really close. Again, I don't know what I would do. I'd be tempted to play Robinson, I guess. Like, I find it really hard to bench like nailed penalty takers, which is what João Pedro is right now. But I did bench in Burmo last week, but it wasn't for a defender. I don't know. Flip a coin. Go with your gut instinct. It's really close. It genuinely is. I would probably play João Pedro. That's just more my style, but I don't see any harm if you want to play Robinson. You get your caffeine hit from playing FPL. No, I need the caffeine after playing FPL, basically. Cheer me up a bit. Bench Hall or Mikalenko? Mikalenko. Do I think Haaland will score today? Probably. Should I bring him in? Probably not. Ramsdale or Raya in goal? I have João Pedro in attack. Should I try with Ramsdale points or leave Raya? I'd probably play Raya still, I think. Just saying coffee beans are like... the thing, like, I know I don't look like I look like a guy that can't be talking about health. I get it, right? But like, I just think we worry too much. Like, if I drink the old Coke Zero, is it really the end of the world? Do you know what I mean? If that makes me happy, like, I think that's fine. And I just don't like coffee. Play Aina or Sarr and why? I play Sarr, attacker, for me. I think Aina's got a good chance of a clean sheet this week, but I'd rather play the attacker, especially away from home. João Pedro or Konza. Again, like, that's just... I'd play João Pedro, I think. I wouldn't transfer him out. Not with Konza as a backup. Would you play João? I think I would play João Pedro over most defenders. If you had the money, would you buy Wood over João Pedro, or do you need that money for Bruno or other options in the future? If I had the money sat in the bank right now for João Pedro to Chris Wood, would I use it on Chris Wood? I think the answer would probably be no. And it's not because I necessarily need the money, but I might need the money at some point. And with Chris Wood having Liverpool next week, I just don't personally see... I just don't really see a mad rush to get him in. I think I understand why everyone else has bought him because he's such an easy move from Cunha and he's absolutely nailed, right? So it makes a lot of sense for people. But João Pedro's got Ipswich next week. I'm kind of okay with that. I think the fixture that most people really want Chris Wood for is Southampton, and that's not until game week 22. So I don't think I would. I don't know. I'm very much in the zone of I'll make a transfer if I think it's a big upgrade. Otherwise, I'm more likely to roll at the moment. I'm happy with being patient. And I got a lot of comments when I got the 2 red arrows recently about, stick to rolling transfers instead of getting points. But it's done all right in the most part, and it allowed me to use 3 or 4 last week to do some pretty decent upgrades, and then that was a big green arrow. So I'm kind of okay with it. I would rather have Chris Wood than João Pedro this week. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see it as a massive upgrade. The same as I don't see Chris Wood as a massive upgrade over Solanke, so I'd rather just roll. Stuff will happen. We'll start getting injured. There's players in our team right now we're thinking I'm just going to keep for the next 10 weeks. They'll get injured. It always happens. And so I'd rather be in a good position to deal with that. And I'm going to be in a pretty good position to deal with the double. And I really want to save my wild card until later. Anyway, that was a long-winded way of saying I'm keeping João Pedro. I actually find a lot of the forwards right now not that exciting, to be honest. Just feels like we're in that kind of place in FPL at the moment. Play Luca Dean or Howson. I think Luca Dean. Better fixture. Probably a little bit more attacking as well. I'm trying to save my 2 free transfers, but I'm tempted to do Odegaard to Gordon and Saliba to Trent. I tell you what, if you need to do the Odegaard to Gordon move to fund the other one, I quite like that. Because Trent is a big enough upgrade over Saliba. And you're definitely going to want him for Ipswich at home in 23 and the double in 24 or 25. Yeah, if you can just do Saliba to Trent for free, I'd be tempted to roll the other transfer. But if you need it, I kind of get it. Bench on a Munoz, Enzo or João Pedro. Probably Munoz. Maybe Isak grabs a hat-trick against the Spurs defence. Better captain than Salah. Maybe Salah grabs a hat-trick against Man United. Have Rodgers, Ahmad and Cunha going for Gordon and Raul Jimenez. Sell Ahmad or Rodgers. As long as you're not going to get stuck for... I would rather have Rodgers long-term than Ahmad, personally. Although Man United do have some nice fixtures for next week, and his minutes are still pretty good. That's quite a tight call. I don't see Ahmad coming out of the team anytime soon. Because Rashford's just not an option right now. And Garnacho seems to be out of favour. Who else is there to play in that front 3? Mason Mount's always injured. Man United do have nice fixtures from 21. Better than, I think, I don't know. I'm not helping, I realise. Short term, 21-22, you've got Everton away, Arsenal away for Villa. Whereas Man United have Southampton at home and Brighton at home. I think next 3, Ahmad is better. I think next 6, you can maybe argue Rodgers because he gets West Ham, Wolves and Ipswich, but that's about as much as I can tell you. Rodgers has just scored. Sorry, Rodgers has just got a goal and assist as well, so it makes it more difficult to say he should be the one to get rid of. I'd be tempted to hold Ahmad because of the short-term fixtures. Yeah, put it this way, though. I've got no intention of getting rid of Rodgers anytime soon. I mean, it might happen because something could crop up where it makes sense to do it, but... yeah, I don't think I can help you anymore. That's my thoughts. Bruno versus Southampton, Brighton, Fulham, or Gordon versus Wolves, Bournemouth, Southampton. I'm taking Bruno. I'm taking the penalties. João Pedro is a nailed cheap penalty taker. He's such a great keep. I mostly agree, yeah. Yeah. Now do I bench Munoz or Jota? I don't think Jota's starting. But it feels wrong to start Munoz over him. I think because you've got Jota, you've probably got to risk the start. This is why I hate owning Liverpool attackers that aren't Salah. Despite how many times Gakpo started recently, I just don't want these headaches. I might accept the headache for a couple of weeks over a double, but I don't think Jota starts. In that case, you should probably play Munoz, but I don't think you can do it. Choose 2 between Raul Jimenez, Wood, and Gakpo. I mean, if it's to start this week, then I would bench Chris Wood. If it's long-term picks, probably Wood and Raul Jimenez. I don't mind Gakpo, though. His minutes are goodish. Play Henderson or Sanchez? Good question. I guess I go Henderson just because he's at home. Let me just see Rob's graphic a sec. What's the clean sheet odds for Palace and Chelsea? Chelsea 27, Palace 15. Maybe it should be Sanchez, but I'd just be tempted to play the guy at home. Henderson. The odds would say Sanchez. I'm going to say Henderson. You should probably go with the odds. Play Cole or Ahmad. Oh, sorry. Play Cole or Ahmad to Gordon and play Gordon. I think if you don't need that money, Ahmad to Gordon's a great move. Do I bench Munoz or... Oh, did that one. Need to bring in one player for Bowen this week. What player would you go for? I have 8.3. Yes, that's exact Bruno money. I'd probably just buy Gordon. It's not... I like Bruno from next week, but it's not a great week to buy him this week. And the thing is, if you go for Gordon, you're not going to be panicking next week that you don't have Bruno, because Gordon's fixtures are just good. So I would buy Gordon. As a Man United fan, will you be captaining Salah? I mean, the answer's literally on your screen. Mark, how's it going? Lewis or Robinson? Got to be Robinson, I think. Like, Lewis will probably start, but I think it's got to be Robinson. Or start both and bench João Pedro. So many people have asked me about benching João Pedro for a defender, and I've said no every time. He's definitely going to blank against Arsenal, isn't he? I would play João Pedro over Lewis. It's close. By the way, if I ever say it's close, like I mean, obviously I just literally mean it's quite a close call, but if you've got a gut feeling, you should go with what you think, because it means I can't. Like, some questions are just obvious, right? But like, João Pedro ain't Nuri. I would pretty much go João Pedro there. Ain't Nuri so attacking. So again, it is quite close, I suppose. Maddison news probably fit. Not seeing anything about Maddison. The rumor is he's not in the lineup, but again, it's just a rumor. I don't really know which Spurs accounts are like guaranteed info. What are you thinking of transfers? As you know, I advised you play Raul Jimenez last week with his haul, but you saw. I mean, he got 9 points. I bought an Isak that got 7, and got Eze as well. Like, I'm feeling pretty good. So basically, you're having a bit of a dig that I sold Raul Jimenez for Isak, but now you're telling me to captain Isak over Salah. If I hadn't made that move, I wouldn't have Isak right now. I'm not going to captain Isak over Salah. One free transfer: Smith Rowe to Diaz, or Mbeumo, or Martinelli, or hold. Smith Rowe to Mbeumo sounds quite nice to me. Does Luke Littler play FPL? He might do. He plays a lot of FIFA. Also considering selling both Ahmad and Rodgers, one of them next week for Sarr. But you still sell Rodgers first then, don't you? Because then next week, if you want to keep Ahmad and you don't want to get Sarr, you've got Southampton, I think. Why is this a bad week to buy Gordon? I don't think I said it was, to be honest. I think in fact, I've said to a lot of people they should buy Gordon. Start Kwanzaa over Hall, Munoz, just to flex I own him. Yeah, I quite like that. Gordon or Mbeumo. I think there's a chance I'm basically at the moment looking mostly up to game week 29, because that could be a blank game week, right? So I think from now until 29, because after the Liverpool game, Mbeumo has Palace away, Spurs at home, West Ham away, Leicester away, Everton at home, Villa at home. I think and Southampton this week. I think long term, Mbeumo could be the one between him and Gordon. But in the short term, because Gordon doesn't have to play Man City and Liverpool, he is probably better over the next 3-4. So I guess it depends how long-term of a move you want to make. Wilson, a cheap punt, 5 goals in the league already. I don't mind him. I don't think... I wouldn't be... I'm just looking up his price, by the way. What is he? 5.2, yeah. I wouldn't be like rushing out to get him and using a one free transfer on him, but if you need an enabler, then sure, he's fine. Rodgers to Gordon lets me bench out. Pedro got Rodgers at 5. Again, what's that going to block you doing in the future? If the answer's nothing and you're happy with that, then I think I love Rodgers. I think he's a great enabler, but Gordon's better. I probably won't be free hitting in 29 this year. Like, I'm not locking anything in because it depends on results in the cup, right? But I think it's unlikely that I will free hit in 29, but I think it's quite likely that I will free hit in 34, which is also a blank. And I'll tell you now, I know everyone is going to talk about free hit 29 versus 34 last season, but if we get to a point where the Carabao Cup finalists also get to the FA Cup semi-final, that means they'll be doubling twice and blanking in 34. Loads of people will use their free hit in a blank if that's the scenario. There wouldn't be a good enough reason, I don't think, to use it in a double instead. But let's see what happens with the fixtures and stuff like that. There's no point locking in anything right now. Do you think Villa's attack will be effective without Rodgers? I think they're playing Leicester, so I think yes. I have Watkins in my team, and I'm wondering how they will attack without him. You've got Watkins against Leicester at home, massive differential. He's going to play 90 minutes probably. I would. That's a classic case of overthinking. Like, in that case, right, even if Villa are massively worse without Rodgers, which they won't be, you've got Watkins versus Leicester. What are you going to do? You're not going to sell him, are you? So that's. I think in FPL, if you can, I think a lot of myself included, probably, even though I never do. You should There's just some things in FPL you just don't need to think about, so don't waste your time doing it. You've got Watkins versus Leicester at home in a game where Duran's suspended. He's definitely going to play 90 minutes, pretty much guaranteed. That's it. That's all you think about. How will they attack? I don't know. I'll leave that to Unai Emery. But you just don't need to think about it. Start Anderson, Vandenberg, or João Pedro. João Pedro. Would you start Lewis Hall or João Pedro against my double Arsenal defence? Probably João Pedro. I do agree. There could be potential returns there from Lewis Hall. Start Sells or Flecken. Sells. Johan, thank you. Trent or Alisson on wildcard. I don't want double Liverpool defence. Definitely Trent for me. Kevin, I answered your super chat. I think I said in Burmo out of those. Do I play FC 25? I think I played one game and then didn't play it again. Would you spend 4 or just play Mikalenko as your third defender? And if so, what team players should I target? I wouldn't take a -4. I would just play Mikalenko. House and Vardio and Trent, Gabriel over João Pedro. I play João Pedro, I think. So I hate you got such a nice team. You could maybe play Gabriel over Howson, but I'd probably play João Pedro over Gabriel, I think. Oh god, João Pedro. I'm telling you now, based on everything I've said this morning, Lewis Hall is going to get a double-digit haul, and João Pedro is going to blank. There's too many people with close decisions this week. You got 38 minutes to rectify any changes you've made in your team. Start Ahmad or Semenyo. Got a feeling Ahmad will do a City 2.0. Liverpool defence is much better than Man City. I would 100% play Semenyo, and again, I wouldn't really have to think about it all that much. Put Semenyo in your team, forget about it. João Pedro to Delap. I don't see any reasons to do that, to be honest. Whenever Mikalenko is mentioned, I get mixed up and think you're talking about Milenkovic. Not in this case. I think Sanchez start. I think it was just rotation again last week. It was last week when they played Ipswich, wasn't it? Honestly, with Christmas, I'm getting lost to the game weeks. Greaves only cover. Pau Torres to Castagna -4. Bench Matoma. No. Wait, that Greaves isn't your only cover then, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I missed that. No, I would just play Matoma. Julian, new member, thank you. Would you do Odegaard to Gordon for free? If I had a stack of transfers, I would. If I had one free transfer in Odegaard, I'd probably just hold. My only issue with going Gordon is I have Eze and Hall. Is that Eze? Eze and Hall. And game weeks 25 and 27 are City and Liverpool. Who's Eze? Eze? Oh, Isak. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, but game week 25 is a little while away, I suppose. That's why I was saying earlier that actually in Burmo might be the better long-term option. But then he's got City and Liverpool soon, so it's not really that much different, is it? Play Luka Dean or... But the thing is, you're talking about Gordon over Ahmad or Rodgers. Like, that's much better, even with City and Liverpool. Play Luka Dean or Howson. Not sure if Luka Dean starts. He should start, so I'd probably play him. I guess there is a bit of risk there, but he is the better option, I think. -4 from Munoz to Trent and Jackson to João Pedro. No, I don't think so. Just do it next week for free instead. They're taking a -4 to bring in a forward playing Arsenal. Sam, thank you. Visceral Wood. Chris Wood, probably. Solanke is overrated. I don't think Solanke can be overrated because literally no one ever talks about him. I talk about him because I've got him in my team. So on team selection, I mention him. But I never mention him as an option to bring in. I've not heard one person mention him as an option over Chris Wood this week. So I think he's literally not overrated at all because no one ever talks about him. He's never in the consideration for people to bring in. Like this week, Cunha to Chris Wood, there was no question. Even people that had money did not even think about Solanke for a second. So I don't think he could be any more correctly rated. Start Bruno and João Pedro over Sarr. I don't know. I would start Sarr, I think. I don't know who to bench out of João Pedro and Bruno. Guess Bruno because it's Liverpool away. It's really tight though. Start to João Pedro, Munoz, Hall, and Mikalenko. I would bench Mikalenko and Munoz, I think. No, Mikalenko and Hall. If anything, he's underrated. I do want to say that. I don't know if he is underrated. I think he's just about correctly rated-ish. He just never gets a look in. Never ever gets mentioned as an option to bring in. I mean, to be fair, he does have Arsenal away next week. It's not great. I can absolutely see why people have gone Chris Wood because they've got an easy Liverpool fixture next week. Hall or Aina for the next 5-6 game weeks? Lewis Hall. Play João Pedro or Ismaila Sarr. I'd go Sarr, I think. United stand saying the Liverpool game is off. Are they? They wouldn't know yet. You sure they're not saying it could be off? Yeah, he is a bit of an awkward price point. I'm only messing anyway about like the great Liverpool fixture that Chris Wood has next week. Arsenal away is tougher anyway, and Solanke's not on penalties. And yeah, like Wood was a really easy replacement from Cunha because he was less money. Like Solanke, you've got to have money in the bank. Bench one of Van Dijk, Lewis Hall, Robinson, or Aina to play Semenyo. Ooh, I would probably bench Hall or Aina. Yeah, I would definitely play Semenyo. Rao versus João Pedro this week. I mean, no contest. One of them's playing Ipswich. Is Leno a good keeper? Yes. Would I buy him in FPL? Probably not. He's not bad. Is there a chance of the Liverpool game cancellation? There is a chance. I think it's quite low. Have Alisson, Trent, Bruno, and Salah dead bench. Timber, Rodgers. Oof, yeah, you really don't want that game to be called off. I don't think it will be called off, but I guess there is a bit of a concern. Forest beat Liverpool 2-0 at Anfield. Green fixture for Chris. Chris Wood is essential, yeah. The thing I found quite funny about, like, when you own a player that no one else owns, obviously you look into them a bit more. And again, I'll preface this by saying that I think buying Chris Wood over Solanke was a really decent decision. Or I wouldn't argue against anyone. But I got told the other day that I needed to sell Solanke to Chris Wood because form is better than fixtures. And Solanke's got 4 attacking returns in 5 game weeks. Wood's got 4 in 9. So there's just this thing against Solanke that people just they still see Chris Wood as the form option. And obviously Chris Wood's got more points. He's done better over the season. But they still see him as the form option, even though Solanke's got more returns recently. Albeit, if we're going on 1-game samples, then Chris Wood is ahead of Solanke because he literally returned last week. Anyway, I'm going to stick up for Solanke. I'm holding him for a while longer. I'm probably going to have Solanke in my team for quite a while, I think. Because I just don't think there's ever going to be a point where I think I really just want Chris Wood or Gabriel Jesus instead. I think I'm just happy rolling the transfer. And I'm going to bench him next week for Arsenal. Anyway. Gabriel to Trent for a -4. No, I don't think so. Do it next week for free. Wood rotates so well with other players. Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to bench Solanke for Arsenal. And then once I'm through that Everton game, he's then got like Spurs fixtures are quite good, like longer term. 23 Leicester at home, then Brentford away, Man United at home, Ipswich away. I quite like that little run, 23 to 26. But who knows? I might sell Solanke to a cheap forward at some point to get money for another move, possibly. Who knows? Free hitting this week. Triple Liverpool attack and triple Bournemouth defence. We love exciting FPL. Good luck. Good luck. Desperately chasing Haaland captain or sell for a minus. Don't sell for a -8. I'd rather captain him than sell him for a -8. Seriously, Wood is an easy bench next week. Yeah, 100%. Well, depending on if you've got a good squad, yeah. I would like to know your reasoning between Eze over Sarr. I basically went for a long-term minutes play, but honestly, I think you should probably just buy Sarr. I mean, Palace apparently have bid for. Is it Doak? Is it just Doak? It's not Doak, is it? No, I think it's just Ben Doak. Doak. That's not it, is it? That's such an English thing to pronounce. Let me know if it's not Doak, by the way. But apparently they've bid for him. So maybe they're looking for another attacking player. This is the thing, right? If Palace were to sign another attacking forward, then like Sarr would then become a little bit of a minutes risk. Whereas Eze is nailed. I'm pretty confident Eze is just absolutely nailed no matter who they sign. Like maybe because of how well Sarr's playing, Glasner would take Eze out before. I just don't see it. I think Eze is to Palace what like Salah is to Liverpool and Fernandes to Man United. They're just nailed. So that's it. But honestly, with the price difference and the numbers that Sarr's putting up, you should probably buy Sarr. Like I suspect that will end up being a mistake for me long term, unless he keeps getting 10 pointers. To be fair, Solanke. Oh yes, that's a good point. Solanke will probably be on penalties this week if Son's benched. Oh, now I need Son benched. Oh, I'd love it if Solanke got a penalty. Solanke outscoring Isak this week is my. I own Isak. I've got him vice captain, but I would love it if Solanke outscores him. Would you captain Raul Jimenez or Mbeumo? I mean, between the two, I would captain Mbeumo, but I wouldn't captain either this week. Captain Watkins over Salah, too risky or why not? I mean, Salah's just amazing. He's playing Man United at home. It's a good fixture. Like, if you want to go Watkins, go for it. He's not terrible, but he's not as good as Salah. Who should I start, Sarr or Kluivert? Ooh, penalty taking Kluivert against Everton at home. I'd probably start Kluivert. Some guy who has a dead bench and doesn't want the game to be cancelled. Should I take a -4 or 8 to cover? No, probably not. I mean, Eze and Hall are good options, but I wouldn't take a -8 just to cover bench on the possibility a game gets called off, which probably won't. Yeah, Palmer vice captain instead of Isak is fine. I had Palmer vice captain. I only changed it because of all the Spurs issues, basically. If I sell Rodgers next week becomes a benching headache, and Ahmad would be most probably on the bench. With that in consideration, selling Ahmad makes a tad more sense. Not really. Like let me phrase it a different way, right? No, do you know what? It does kind of make sense, actually. Yeah, it does kind of make sense. But you could also look at it another way. If you get an issue next week, you're not forced into a transfer because you've got a great bench option. So you can look at it both ways. But yeah, ultimately, if you're going to probably bench him anyway, then you're missing one of the good fixtures for Man United. Then you're getting closer to Villa's good fixtures. So yeah, that probably makes sense. Yeah, if Maddison's on the pitch, there is a chance he would take them. But Solanke's record's pretty good. Rodgers to Ahmad. No chance I would do that. I would play Diblin. Liverpool way is just not good enough. Bench one, Gabriel, Hall, João Pedro, thinking João Pedro. I would probably bench Gabriel. No, I would probably bench Lewis Hall, I think. But I get it. You don't want Gabriel playing against João Pedro. So yeah, if you want to bench João Pedro, that seems fine. It's all quite close, honestly. There's going to be a lot of people that bench João Pedro for like Robinson and Munoz and Lewis Hall. I think it's fine if you want to do that. Do I think Liverpool could lose to Man United? I mean, it's possible because anything is possible in football, but it's very, 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 very unlikely, I would say. FPL Bricky, how's it going? Rodgers to Eze or Timber to Munoz? Already own Sarr. I don't think it's the worst time to come off an Arsenal defender, to be honest. So I'd probably lean that way. But I mean, the thing is, I'd rather have Eze than Munoz this week. But longer term, I think you might be better off going the Munoz route instead. Start Strand Larsen or Vandenberg. Definitely Strand Larsen for me. I already have Hall and Isak. Is a triple up with Gordon too risky? The only issue is, when they play Man City away in 25 and Liverpool away in 27, you'll have a triple up, and they could blank in game week 29 if they win their Carabao Cup semi-final, but I don't think they will, so they'll probably play. So it's not that risky, I don't think. Maybe a slight risk. I don't know what percentage to give the Liverpool Man United game of being called off, but I think it's quite low. Uh, 26 minutes till the deadline, by the way. Play Sales or Raya. I'd be a little bit tempted to play Sales. I just think Brighton will score, but maybe I'm subconsciously just biased because I've got João Pedro, and so I'm hoping that will happen. I suspect Wolves will score as well, in which case you should probably just play Raya. But I think the double up's quite tempting. Play 2, Gabriel, Ahmad, Hall. I'd probably bench Ahmad. Would Smith Rowe be a consideration? I don't think so. I think the minutes would just be too risky for me. Would you captain Isak or Watkins as differentials? Ooh. That's a good question. Like, I'm automatically just drawn to Isak because of all the Spurs issues, but like it's literally Leicester at home. I mean, honestly, if you want to go ultra differential, it's Watkins. Like, he'll be much lower owned than Isak. But I think I'd probably lean to more. If I'm just thinking who's going to get the most points, I think I'm probably leaning. Watkins on penalties as well now, though. I don't know. If I was free hitting this week, and I could have one of Watkins or Isak, who would I go for? I guess everyone in the chat would say Isak, right? I'd be a little bit tempted by Watkins. Both on penalties. Leicester at home's better than Spurs away, ish. Honestly, this is how I would look at it, right? If you're already looking at Isak and Watkins as you want differential, so I'd go Watkins. He's lower owned. Just tuned in. Will Son miss the Spurs game, the Newcastle game? The rumours are that he's not starting. Whether or not he's on the bench, I don't know. But again, it's just rumours. It's not like, before when I've had Arsenal news and I've been pretty confident with it. This is not that case. I'm really not sure if Son's going to be out. Vandenberg, Hall, Howson, Castagna, bench one. Probably Vandenberg. Yeah, fair enough. If you're free hitting, you probably just take both. If you could only have one. Start 3 is João Pedro, Strand Larsen, Munoz, and Colwell. I would bench Colwell. Start 8 Nuriel, João Pedro. Bench Robinson, João Pedro, or Enzo. Probably Enzo. Matsurawi to Anderson. Munoz, Gabriel, Trent, and Greaves. You probably don't need to make a defender transfer this week. And Matsurawi's got Southampton at home next week. Start Hall or João Pedro. Sell Cunha and Matoma for Gordon and Jimenez. Sounds quite nice, yeah. Does sound quite nice, especially if it's for free. Ryan, thank you. Ahmad or Kirkes? I'm going to say Kirkes. I've told Ahmad to bench for so many people. It's going to go horribly wrong. Thoughts on selling Rodgers in case the Liverpool game is off? I've thought about it. I've thought about doing Rodgers to Murphy, but if it's not called off, it's just a waste of a transfer. So I'd probably lean more towards not doing it. There doesn't seem to be that much worry about that game being called off generally. Not that necessarily means anything, but and it might just be that there's not much talk because it's Saturday. I'll tell you what, I've just googled Liverpool weather. The temperature has come down for tomorrow. Like when I looked at it yesterday, it was like 3, 2, 1 degrees. Now it's saying like -1, 0. So I guess you could, if it freezes over, maybe. Thing is, I'm not Michael Fish. I don't know is the honest answer. I'm leaning towards hoping and praying it's not off. Although the idea of Liverpool back-to-back double game weeks is quite nice, especially with an assistant managership to use. I live in the south and it's cold. We'll only get colder. Yeah, but Liverpool's not in the south. Michael Fisher's a legend. Come on. Matoma and Jackson to Wood and Gordon. Or Luis Diaz for mine. I wouldn't take a -4 for Luis Diaz. I'd go Gordon. Cunha to Wood for -4 and bench João Pedro. I just play João Pedro personally. Bench 1 of Colwell, Hall, Armstrong, João Pedro. Is that like Adam Armstrong? I'd bench Colwell, I think. 71 -4 last round. Palmer captain over Salah. Jesus and Eze save me some of the round. Nice. Bench 1 of Foden, Enzo, Jesus. Enzo easy, I think. I don't believe that anybody. -16 here in Norway. Oof. You guys are probably used to it though, right? That's the thing. Like anyone not from like the UK or Ireland always finds it really weird that like a bit of snow, like and like a 0 or 1 degree temperature can like get a game called off. But you're just not used to it, right? It doesn't happen that often. You don't get like a huge amount of snow. Liverpool being on the coast does help. It's inland where the temperatures really plummet. I find that in Galway sometimes, actually. Similar thing. Is KSI boycotting the stream? He might be. Or maybe he just doesn't have any inside info this week. Power to Castagna -4 to have just one bench player. I'd risk it, I think. Start Castagna or Hall. Definitely Castagna. No question for me. 1 free transfer. Do I do Timber to Gabriel, Robinson, Munoz, or play Trent, Lewis, and Cole? Alternatively, I could do João Pedro to Jesus. All my bench is unavailable. João Pedro to Jesus is quite nice if you trust the minutes. I wouldn't do the defender move, I don't think. Doku to Gordon for a hit, or just play Cucurella. Wow, what a niche question that is. You don't get many questions about Cucurella and Doku in the same thing. I'm just looking at chat. Yeah, Cucurella always starts, doesn't he? Doku. Oh my god. I'd probably just play Cucurella, although I do like the idea of just getting Gordon. But you could get him for free next week, right? As long as you're not going to be priced out, I'd probably not take the hit. Bench 1 of Martinelli, João Pedro, or Iwobi. Maybe João Pedro in that case, just because Iwobi's got such a good fixture. Do I start Szoboszlai or Lewis Hall? Again, a very niche question. I'm going to say Szoboszlai. Start Munoz or Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe if you've got him. Captain Harden or Palmer. I'd be tempted to go with the differential Harden, to be honest, between those two. Bench 1 of Fernandes, João Pedro, or Vandenberg. Oh, wait, or Kirkes. I'd probably bench Kirkes if it was me. Jota to Gordon for free. Start João Pedro or Vandenberg. That sounds like a pretty good move to me. I would start João Pedro. I've got Timber, and my only bench is fast. Is a -4 need. Also, is the weather concerning enough to not captain Salah? No, you just vice captain. Like, it's either going to get called off or played. I mean, I guess it could get played and then get called off later, but it'll either go ahead or it won't. So I would captain Salah still. I probably wouldn't take a -4 for a bench. Sanchez to Fabianski will replace Timber to Trent or Roll. Sanchez will start. Timber to Trent seems better to me. I like that move. It's a good long-term move. Amirim as manager some week considering the table. I will consider that. I don't know if I can put myself through assistant manager Man United because it's just double punishment if it goes wrong. But like that's the kind of thing that would make me not necessarily go for like slot in 24-25. Like similar with Spurs, like they're 11th. I don't know if I haven't looked properly at the fixtures. Like if Spurs had to play like Forest at home, they've already played them over there. I can't remember. I don't know, but that's the kind of thing I'm looking at. Glasner, Amorim could be quite tempting. I think. Yeah, Amorim maybe. I don't know if I can put myself through it, honestly. Milenkovic over Aina on wildcard worth the savings. I think so, yeah. Then would you start Castagna over both this week? Yes. Bench 1 of João Pedro, Enzo or Saliba. Have Gabriel. Saliba probably. Not because of Gabriel, just because of the other two. Liked your Black Box Super Chat. Thank you very much. I wonder if Az is watching right now. Probably not. Rahul, thank you. Ahmad likely going wing back also leans me to Rodgers. Why is he likely going wing back? I don't know if that is that likely, to be honest. I think it probably should happen, but it requires someone like Garnacho to start. As a United fan, I'm not sure I can captain Salah. Is Isak a viable option? No, Isak's good. If you don't want to captain Salah, Isak's good. So is Palmer. Well, we shouldn't forget that Palmer is also pretty good. It wouldn't be a huge surprise if Liverpool gets called off and then Palmer outscores Isak. Would I take a hit of Trent in for Timber out? Only if you're really stuck for players on the bench. Play one of Ahmad Greaves or Van Heck. In that case, I'm playing Ahmad. Based on analysis of the current oh god, I'm not going to be able to say this, but I'm going to have to keep trying. Meteorological. I think that's wrong. Data and the knowledge that a decision will be made at 9:30 GMT. AI says the probability of a postponement is 60%. Okay. Start Colwell or Aina. Start Dibbling or João Pedro. Although Dibbling's not bad this week. Brentford at home is a good fixture. It's them penalties, though, you know? They always get me. Sell 8 Nuri and Fernandes for Trent and Eze. Because you're getting Trent, probably, yeah. My lineup. Doodaloo. Nice. Real nice. Jesus, what a lineup. Yeah, that team's very good for this week. Very good. Wolves assistant manager around game week 33. Okay, let me look at Wolves in game week 33. Bearing in mind, I'm going to use it on a team that's got a double. So for Wolves, to use it on Wolves in 33, you're missing out on you wouldn't use it on Wolves in 33 because there'll be a double that week. But then they got Leicester at home in 34. But they won't be 5 places below Leicester, though, will they? And then in 35, they got Man City away. So I would say Wolves looks pretty terrible, to be honest. Maybe 36 to 38, but... Scott, did your super chat get missed? The AI says there is a probability of 10% that happened. Rumours that Ange has arrived with goalkeeper gloves on. Nice. Scott, is Scott winding me up? Oh, no. I did, yeah, because I said, is that Adam Armstrong? So I definitely answered that one. I think I said Colwell, if that's Adam Armstrong. Start 2 of Enzo, Lewis Hall, or Rico Lewis. Enzo and... I'm going to say Enzo and Rico. Lewis Hall, don't punish me too much. Wait, was there only 10 players? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh yeah, there was only 10 players. Missed out a player, but the team still looks good even with 10 players. Start 2 out of these 3: Milenkovic, Hall, and Saliba. Saliba and I think Forest are more likely to get a clean sheet than Lewis Hall. I guess you've got to play Lewis Hall in that case. Bench Milenkovic. Feels like using assistant manager chip early works if you've used your triple captain. Yeah, there's more reason to look at the Liverpool double for sure. Stop ignoring my questions every week. Do you know what? I'm gonna just keep ignoring them. Feels good to me. Haaland versus Isak captain. I think I'd have to go Haaland out of those. Like, Isak's great, and like the thing is, you could get massively punished by Haaland again. I think you realise that if you still own Haaland, but it's a nice fixture, right? Botman started according to Will NUFC. Really? Damn it! I mean, Solanke's even worse. Maybe Botman will be rusty. Damn, do you know what? Oh no, because Cher's not. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Lewis Hall when Botman's back. I don't think Dan Burn's going to go left back, but it's possible. Matthew H, 28-month member. Thank you very much. play Hall or Konza. I'm going Konza for the fixture, but most people would probably want to play Lewis Hall, if I'm honest. And that's what most people would do. Hall or João Pedro? I'm starting Hall, I think. No, wait, João Pedro, sorry. João Pedro. One player I wish I had this week, Haaland, I guess. Rishab, thank you. Will NUFC has got lineups wrong before. I guess Botman doesn't really make much difference to anyone, though, right? So we'll see. It's just an interesting one. Haaland triple captain or Salah? I would go Salah, but yeah. Jacob Murphy. I mean that. No, you've still only posted 10 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've still posted 10. Did I watch Real Madrid yesterday? Nope. Didn't even know they were playing, to be honest. Am I watching Australia versus India BGT series? Nope. I don't really watch much other sport these days other than football. I did watch the darts final last night. Watched Luke Littler smash Van Gerwen. My team. 4 free chances. I can't look through someone's team and give you all the suggestions you need, honestly, because I've not thought about your team as much as you will have done. Also, you've posted that backwards. Interesting. You've gone forwards to goalkeepers. That is different to normal. Okay, so Haaland, Wood, João Pedro all fine. Palmer, Salah, Enzo pretty good. Iwobi and Rodgers. You got See, for me, having Haaland's really hurting your team. Like Enzo, Iwobi, Rodgers are all fine, but they're not. I wouldn't want all three. Defense looks okay this week. Selling Haaland before West Ham doesn't feel great, but honestly, I'd be selling him and spreading that money around, I think. I just get Isak. Get Gordon maybe, instead of one of those cheapy, something like that. Yeah. But I think bear in mind, when you send me a whole team and ask, like I've given that like 15 seconds thought. Like you will think about your future transfers way more than I will. And I get that it doesn't feel great to sell Haaland this week. But it's never going to feel good to sell him. Newcastle are on for a haul with Spurs injury crisis and now illness running through the squad. Yep. Son been seen on the Tottenham pitch. Yeah, I don't think anyone said that Son wouldn't be in the squad. There was just rumours that he wasn't starting. But again, not a guarantee. Will you do next game week Odegaard versus Spurs to Sarr or Bruno? You know what I'm saying. I would go to Bruno, but if you need the money, Sarr. But also Odegaard versus Spurs is fine. For who should I sell Son? It's going to be a -4. I'd probably go Gordon this week. Madness to consider Watkins captain over Salah. Maybe not madness, but I would probably prefer Salah personally. Start Lewis or Robinson. Wildcard, Trent and Jesus or Van Dijk and Jackson. Good question. Trent, I think. The Trent one. What are your do's and don'ts for sending you questions? I just find it's not like a do or don't, but when someone just sends me a team and says suggestions, like I don't like doing that because then I've got to think about I just can't do it quick enough on a deadline stream. It's not that I don't like doing it. I just to look through someone's whole team and decide their future transfers, I'm just never going to be able to give that enough time. So it's not like you can't do it, but you're not going to get a proper answer, I would say. Unless there's something obvious, right? Like super obvious. Like you don't have Isak and you've got like Cunha and 3 million in the bank, then it's quite obvious you make that move. Transfer Cunha to Wood / Jackson or roll to start building free transfers. But if you want to roll. I personally think Cunha's a good sell because the fixtures are not great. But if you want to roll, then that's what you should do for your team, right? Also, another like it's not pet peeve sounds a bit more dramatic than it is, but when people send questions like who should I bench and they include like Salah and Haaland, I always think you're not benching them. Let's get to the realistic players a bit quicker. Like, who should I bench? Salah, Haaland, Gordon, or Amad Diallo? I don't know. Out of those. Pet peeve's a bit strong. It doesn't really bother me that much, but like I always think you just don't need to. You're not benching those players. You're never benching them. Don't include them. Maybe one day I should say that I would bench Salah for Ahmad and then see if people do it. Then I'd feel really harsh if they went through with it. Like that would make me feel bad. Should I bench Jota for Sarr and roll? Play Jota or do Jota to Iwobi or Diaz? I would probably just play Sarr. Again, like it feels really bad not to play Jota if you own him. I just don't think he starts. Play Nuri over Gabriel if playing João Pedro. I'd probably still play Gabriel personally. 1 free transfer Bruno to Gordon, worth it or roll. I'd roll. I'd want Gordon. I'd want Bruno over Gordon from next week personally. Gordon is better this week. Munoz or Hall. This week Munoz, long term probably Lewis Hall. Hall or João Pedro. I'm playing João Pedro. Oh God, Lewis Hall's going to do so well. He's going to do so well. When people spam emojis in their questions, is that annoying? It doesn't annoy me, no, but it doesn't make me any more likely to answer it, to be honest. Like, I mean, I was going to say unfortunately, but fortunately, I have a lot of people watching, which is amazing. And it just means questions will get missed. That's the reality. Like, I can't get to every single question as much as I'd love to. Was the Chelsea pile-on by some a mistake? No, I think Jackson, Palmer, Colwell, Enzo are all good in isolation. I think there was a period where Enzo and Ahmad were returning. There probably was a bit too much of a rush to change around £5 million midfielders. But also there's a bit of hindsight there because Rodgers has just done really well recently and Enzo's blank note 2 or 3 in a row. Would I get rid of Jota if I had him? I probably would. Because there's no guarantee he starts this week. There's no guarantee he starts the week after. You're going to have the same headache in the double. But also, it does feel bad selling him before Man United. And the fact they've got Ipswich in 23 in the double later on. But you just can't rely on him. But maybe over the next couple of weeks, he'll build up fitness and he'll start more than Gakpo. But I don't know. I would be frustrated with Jota in my team. I hate players like that I can't rely on that are going to start most weeks. 1 free transfer is Bruno to Gordon, worth it or roll. I would probably roll, personally. I have Rodgers / Cunha, so the threat of postponement in Liverpool, Man United worries me. But could you not just sell Cunha instead? Why does it have to be Bruno? Yeah, less than 5 minutes. Thank you for pointing out, because I definitely would have missed it. João Pedro to Wood for free or roll. I'd probably roll, but I understand why you want to do it. Like, just bear in mind that although João Pedro's fixture is not good this week, it's better than Chris Wood next week. They're both on penalties. I mean, arguably, João Pedro's minutes are better right now as well. Slightly. He's playing 90 minutes a lot because of the injuries. Okay, Bilal is going for one more attempt. I still think you... Raya, Gabriel, Castagna, Lewis Hall, Murphy, Palmer, Salah and Berman, Watkins, Isak, Wood. You finally got there. 11 players. That's a solid team. Haaland captain chat. If you've got it in you to captain Haaland, you still own him. Don't hate it, honestly. Like West Ham's a good fixture. We spoke about that graphic earlier from Rob. And in terms of goals, like Man City right up there. Mateta or Enzo on the field? I'd play Mateta, yeah. Mateta, actually, I was saying earlier about how no one ever talks about Solanke. I've actually not given Mateta much of a consideration either. I don't mind Mateta over Chris Wood as a punt. If you've got the money. Like, Mateta almost certainly going to take penalties when he's on the pitch. I hope it's Eze, but I doubt it, because Mateta took the last one. Leicester away next week, West Ham away, Brentford at home. No Liverpool fixture coming up. I quite like Mateta if you've got the money. Start Hall or Greaves, definitely Lewis Hall. Sanchez to Pickford now or roll. Start Dibbling or Vandenberg, probably Dibbling. Is Raul Jimenez a minute's risk? A little bit. I think he'll start today. Or tomorrow. But Strand Larsen's fine this week. I quite like Strand Larsen to Raul Jimenez, but again, if you've only got one transfer, I'd probably roll it. Bruno isn't suspended. He was suspended last week. Starting Jimenez over João Pedro despite the minutes worry isn't... No, I don't think it's that stupid. But it's a great fixture. What do you think of getting Gakpo for Jackson. No chance I would do that. Gakpo's on 4 yellow cards. I know. Jackson was on 4 yellow cards for ages. He never got it. But imagine if Gakpo gets his yellow against Man United, blanks, and then misses game week 21. And then Jota starts building up his minutes, and then there's even more rotation. I just wouldn't do it. Jackson's also pretty good this week. I think people are worrying about Jackson too much. Like, it's annoying that he missed Ipswich. I get it. But he's almost certainly going to start against Palace. Yellow cards have gone up to 10 for every team apart from Liverpool and Everton. So Pickford's on 4 yellow cards still. I mean, I find it very hard to believe he will get a yellow because he must know he's on 4. So he just doesn't have. So just don't time waste, right? And Gakpo's a forward, so he won't have to make as many tackles as a defender. But you just never know, right? And people will use, Jackson as this example of players not getting. But Timber was on 4 yellows. He just got one. Rodgers was on 4 yellows. He got one last game. So you just don't know. I just would not buy Gakpo for Jackson. No chance. Castagna or Hall. I did Gordon hit for Doku, by the way. Nice. Castagna I would play. Less than a minute to go, by the way. Make sure you're locked in. I'm pretty sure I'm sticking on this. So Isak vice captain. Salah captain. And yeah, I'm going to bench Munoz, I think. How's the weather? It's a little bit frosty here, but it's dry. I'm in Galway, though, so it's probably not much of a help for what might happen in Liverpool. Isak owners punished for the early kickoff. Yeah, there is part of me that thinks I probably should just go Palmer vice captain. Like, that's what it was on before, but I'm gonna go for Isak. I don't believe in the early kickoff rubbish. Although I've got two of my forwards are basically playing straight away. I'm not looking forward to this match at half 12. Got to be honest. There we go. We are locked in. I've rolled to 3 free transfers. I don't own Chris Wood. Hopefully I can get through this game week without him. It'd be just Solanke, would you just score a goal, please? Just score 1 goal, get a couple of bonus points. I'll take 8 points from Solanke right now. 8 points, I will take it. Just give me some points on the board before everyone has Chris Wood and Gabriel Jesus. Just 8 points. It's not asking for that much, is it? I do need to do a quick draw for the £50 Amazon voucher for those that got 9 predictions in Sleeper last week. So let me just quickly do that. I've already set it up before the stream started, so I'm actually well organised. So all of these people got 9 predictions correct for game week 19. So £50 Amazon voucher. Good luck to whoever wins. I will message you after this for your email address so I can send it over to you. And it is Slape 69, I guess. Production value 100. I know, amazing. That's what you watch, right? So this kind of production. So I'm going to message you after this game. I'll ask for your email address. Nothing more. Just so I can send you the voucher. What a name. Yeah, what a name indeed. Let me just check my predictions. I think I need to. If I put that there, does that mess anything up here? I don't think so. I need to do my predictions because I think I've put a draw between Spurs and Newcastle, and I really need to change that. So let me just take. Okay. Just need to put do not disturb on. Okay, so if I just go back to this. So if I just, so these are my sleeper pick. I actually put a Spurs win. Originally. I'm changing that. If you want to join, by the way, there's a link in the description below to join my sleeper Let's Talk FPL Pick'em League. Whoever gets the most predictions in game week 20 will win a £50 Amazon voucher. If more than one of you is on the same amount of predictions, I'll do a draw like I just did. I'm definitely changing that to Newcastle. No, I can't go for Spurs. I hope Spurs score plenty of goals through Solanke, but I've got to go for Newcastle. Bournemouth to beat Everton, Villa to beat Leicester, a draw between Palace and Chelsea, City to beat West Ham, A draw between Southampton, Brentford, and Arsenal away win. Fulham, Liverpool, Forest. Anyone disagree massively? I think Newcastle win. I've got to go for that. I'm happy with the rest. That's all you have to do. Literally, just make your picks. Super easy. Link in the description below. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to hang around until. I don't think I'm going to hang around until the team sheets come out. How long we got? Another 12 minutes. That's 8 points too many. Come on, let me have some Solanke points. It's not like he's highly owned. Am I ever going to release my own FPL-related merch? Oh, I don't know. I would like to. I've got an idea for one thing I would love to do, but I don't really need it for a while. I don't want to do what everyone does and just slap my logo on a bunch of like just generic stuff. I think it's just so boring. I don't know. It's just finding someone to do it. I can't design. I've got to get a designer, and I've got to get the stuff. It's got to be good quality. I don't want to like rip people off. It's just people have always asked me for it, so I know like I would sell some of it, but like I don't know. I just stop being so lazy probably and just look at it. What do you think about adding a benching headache box to the live stream graphics? It might help cut down on questions. I could potentially put it where the price changes are. But the thing is, I used to do that on the ticker, and no one would really look at it. Is there a genuine chance of United being sucked into a relegation battle? No chance, I would say. Like, I love all the articles that are coming out. If Man United get relegated, they'll lose their sponsor. If Man United get relegated, there's no clause in play. They ain't getting relegated. Come on. Let's talk FPL underwear. Yeah, maybe. I'd love to do a Christmas jumper. Like, yeah, I'd just love to do a Christmas jumper. I think that'd be cool. But obviously, I don't need it again for a long time. Like, you know, the ones that have like different stuff, like in like lines or whatever. So like you can have the logo, you can have green arrows, something like that. I don't know. I actually had a design done for a football shirt a while ago. I've probably still got it somewhere. But when I messaged the people that could do it, they just never really got back to me. I think it looked pretty good. Right, I think I'm off. Good luck. I need to get breakfast basically. Not eating yet today. Also got to take my dog for a walk at some point. So enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, hit that subscribe button, get Sleeper downloaded using the link in the description below. And enjoy your weekend. I'll catch you again tomorrow. All the games will be done tomorrow apart from Wolves versus Newcastle. Wolves versus Forest, but no one's getting any points from that game anyway, so we'll do a stream tomorrow. Right, catch you later on. See ya.